People call me a redneck, like it's supposed to hurt my pride. But they don't know about me, or how I live my life. I pick my guitar and smoky ballrooms, and nearly every single night, and I'm just trying to make a living, and I'm okay with barely getting by. I love my country, I love my flag, I love the soldiers who fight and die for the freedom of my homeland. I believe the Constitution's the law of this land, but it's being trampled on by the politician band. So you can call me a redneck. Well, hell, I'll tell you that I am. But when it comes down to the truth, I'm just a common man.
Our website, www.radio.org. Go out to the Artist Spotlight page and or tab, whatever you want to call it. Check him out. You can read his bio. Click on his photograph. It will take you to his preferred site. But in the meantime, let's all give it up to, ladies and gentlemen, I have Dustin James Clark online with me right now. Good morning, man. How's it going?
Good, man. Great. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for, I know you're an hour behind us, so thanks for hanging out with us a little early this morning.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. Appreciate you having me on today.
I tell you what, when I was listening to you on Reverb, you really struck me. I just liked your sound, and I got to tell you this, and you've probably been told this. You remind me a little of Chris Stapleton, just looking at you.
Jamie Johnson, before Chris blew up like he did. So, yeah, I've heard that quite a few times.
So you've been out playing and traveling now for over 10 years. What got you into to music, first of all, and then country specifically?
Well, it's funny, obviously. First off, I grew up in a family that just was big old-time country music fans. And actually, my uncle left High Ridge back in the 80s. He was in a lot of local country bands around here. And he actually was told by Ernest Tubb to go down to Nashville and pursue his songwriting career. So he did that, and when he got down there, his first job was driving for Waylon Jennings for over 10 years. So when I started growing up, what's that?
I said, how cool is that?
Yeah. I mean, and he's one of my favorite artists ever. So, I grew up hearing, stories about him being on the road with Waylon Jennings. And so I came from that background, from being a family that grew up on that kind of stuff. So, that's what got me into country music. And then as I got older, I kind of progressed and started getting into rock and played in a few ska bands and a little rock here and there. And eventually went full circle, and 10, 12 years ago, I really got back in the country. The most natural thing for me to do was the country thing. So it's always been in my blood, and that's just kind of how I got to this point.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think, because I know I always mention this, do you think that today's country music is a little what we used to call Southern rock? It has that kind of flair to it?
Yeah, I that's exactly how I would put it. Is mostly Southern rockish these days, a little bit of pop mixed in there. I'm glad to see that you got guys like Chris Stapleton that are really starting to get a hold, because in my honest opinion, I feel like a lot of true country fans have been alienated for quite a while. So that's where I'm kind of grateful that things like that are going on.
No, and I would have to agree because, for so many years, getting back to what you were saying, the traditional country music, I grew up there in the same neck of the woods as we say that you live right now. That's where I grew up, and my mom and dad listened to the traditional country and Western, your Hank Williams and your Merle Haggers and this type of thing. And then when the, your Jason Aldeans and that, and the Chris started coming out, some of the older said that's not country music, and then then you threw in you even got a little rap going into country, and a lot of people even went off then, so.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, one of my things is I don't, a lot of guys these days will kind of hammer on what they are playing on the radio. And my biggest thing about it is it's not that I have an issue with kind of the fact that the more traditional sounding country isn't there. It's what it is that I get that everybody likes what's going on right now, but they don't have a place on a lot of mainstream radio stations for your Jamie Johnsons. And I mean, look at George Strait. He just his new song that he actually wrote with Jamie, "Kicked Out of Country." He didn't get much play on his last album. So, I feel like there's a lot of fans out there that have been alienated kind of by the new stuff that's out there. And I feel like there's a place for it. But, back in the day, you might hear, say, George Jones on a radio station, and then they might play the Eagles. You had your Southern rock mixed in with your traditional country. And I think that's something that's kind of been lost these days in the mainstream that I kind of wish would kind of get back to it, to where it's not just geared towards one thing, that you can have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Eagles. A lot of people don't realize they were played on a lot of country music radio stations because they actually they wanted to be a country band of all things.
Yeah.
Now, and some of the information that you provided to us, and your songwriting inspiration comes from your personal life and your experiences, and a lot of your songs are about veterans and tributes to things that are going on. Where did that come from? How did that originate?
I've always had a strong love and respect for the military. I come from a family that has many generations into it, and I was in 12th grade when 9/11 happened. So, like a lot of people did, and I'll actually take it back. So, when I was around 13, 14 years old, I actually joined something called the Civil Air Patrol. Mm-hmm. It's an auxiliary of the Air Force, and we went out and did drilling and did a lot of military type stuff and search and rescue for planes and stuff. So I learned a lot of discipline from that as a kid, and it kind of groomed me to really want to be in the service and follow in the footsteps of, my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, and my dad was in the Army, and a lot of people in my family. So after 9/11 happened, I really, was gung-ho to go. I went to sign up for the Marines, and unfortunately, due to some health issues, I was not able to join. So I was pretty bummed out about that, and this was all about the time that I was really starting to get heavy into songwriting, and it just became kind of my way to give back because I couldn't join the service. So I did the only thing that I really knew how to do, and just kind of started giving back through my writing, and that's really where it started. And then it gets into some of the things that happened with some local soldiers. A Soldier's Last Ride was a song that I wrote after hearing on the news one night that a soldier from Cedar Hill, Missouri, had been killed. And I went out to the highway that day, and I watched him bring that soldier home. And I followed the procession down to Cedar Hill from High Ridge. And it was just amazing. It's in the song, just hundreds of people on the side of the road with American flags and cops and the firefighters, and just watching that for the first time just really cemented it in me. And on the way home that day, I was actually writing down lyrics with an ink pen on my left arm as I was driving home. And I got home that night, and I wrote A Soldier's Last Ride for Sergeant First Class Brian Woods and his family. And then being out and singing a song like that and seeing veterans come to tears, it just you can't explain it. So that's really where it just, I knew it was the right thing to do.
With all the country being in turmoil either one way or another, and all these bad things going on in the world, how do you think that you can bring music together to help contribute to bring people together again?
I think I really think that music needs to become an art again that is not, a lot of times I explain it as a lot of music anymore has like this factory feel to it. You've got a lot of guys who aren't writing their songs, and you've got a lot of, there's not a lot of bands like there used to. Well, there is. I take that back because there's a lot of guys out there. They just don't get the recognition. I find a lot of my stuff on, the streaming sites these days, and there's a lot of amazing things out there. There's a lot of amazing songwriters. I think it's just really getting back to finding the stuff that's out there that's real and that's true, and it's not manufactured and all just about how much money it's going to make the top. So, that's how I see it. I just think there needs to be that realness brought back to it, and that's kind of my hope for it.
So if people want to see you, to go out and say, hey, where do I find Dustin James Clark at? Where can they find you at?
DustinJamesClark.com is the easiest place to go. We got a full schedule up there from now, I think, until about March. I think we've got dates, so they're all in there. So that's definitely the easiest place to go, DustinJamesClark.com.
Let me take you back a few years. Now, Vicki and I, if you're a regular listener, we are big fans and have been since the beginning of The Voice. And we noticed where you actually did a blind audition in 2016. Tell us what that was like.
It was actually a pretty amazing experience. I did it out of spite. I had so many people that would come after shows and be like, hey, you need to, go try out for The Voice. And I'd never really watched it that much, but I knew that Blake Shelton was on it. So, but I would get so many people saying it. And one day it rolled through town, and I was like, well, let's just go give it a shot. That way, when people come up and ask and say, well, it didn't work out, I'd always say, I'm not good enough for that. So I went out and tried in St. Louis, and it was actually through Reverb Nation as well, too, that I submitted for a front of the line pass. So I did that, and I got a message back from one of the producers, and they were like, hey, we liked your stuff. We want you to come in. They gave me a time. So I went straight in and kind of passed through the cattle call thing and went straight to a room and tried out. And the lady was, held me back and was like, all right, you made this process, and went through. So I ended up doing three interview processes, and then they flew us out to L.A. to meet the producer of the show, and then waited a few weeks for a call back, and then they called back and said, hey, this is it. You're coming out to do blind audition. So it was an awesome experience. We spent about 2 months out in L.A. Just preparing for the show, and I tell you what, being in a situation like that where we were sequestered in a hotel, couldn't leave. They didn't want people to find out who the new contestants were. But you had 100 musicians that were locked up in a hotel in L.A., and so it was awesome just singing songs in so many different genres and just some really cool stuff. I wish we had just a crew behind the scenes just to show the awesome kind of things that go on just in that aspect alone. But, yeah, it was an awesome experience. I would never give it up for the world, and created some lifelong friends out of that process as well.
So did you take anything away from that you could do to do anything different, or did you stay true to your roots?
Yeah, in the long run, it just wasn't my thing. So yeah, it's really, after that, it's really just like you said, just kind of keep doing what I'm doing, keep my head down, and hope that it works out the best.
All right. Hey, tell us a little bit about this Cookies and Carols with Santa you got going there in Eureka. By the way, that's where I went to high school, just to let you know.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's something we thought about doing, and we've been working with Brookdale Farms out in Eureka there. It's an awesome organization. They've got carriage rides that they do up in the city, and I've been playing music out there. They do Halloween. Every October they do some stuff for Halloween and fall, and so we'd come up with this idea to have Santa Claus out and to do some Christmas carols and have some carriage rides and the cookies and just, have an awesome family event. And we're really looking forward to it. It's the first year, and we're getting a lot of good feedback, and we're really looking forward to getting through this and making it grow from year to year.
Now, will you be singing every night or the entire event, or how's that work?
Yeah. I think we're doing around a 2-hour event, and I'll be in there singing some Christmas carols and just some general country Christmas music, and Santa will be in there meeting the kids and bonfire. So it's just going to be an all-out, fun family event.
And I might add, that's also part of the Toys for Tot collection event. It's going to be part of
it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've got a collection there, and we had some Santa Claus hats made up for a limited thing for people who are bringing toys out. So we're hoping to get as many toys out there as we can, because that's another big thing that I always enjoy doing around this time of year is giving back to the families that are in need. So always a good deal.
Well, I want to tell you, we really appreciate having you with us, Dustin, and we love your stuff. Let us know when you got some new stuff coming out. We'd love to play it, promote you. We believe in what you're doing. I know, like I said, I didn't even know you did the veteran stuff until after you already had me hooked with your music, just to let you know that.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's a big thing to me. I want to give a big shout out and a big thanks to you and all the veterans, past and present out there. So I do appreciate it. I think about it every day, and we wouldn't be the country we are without the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. So it's a big deal to me. So it's the least I could do, like I said.
Well, we appreciate having you with us. And by the way, don't hang up yet. I want to talk to you off air. Ladies and gentlemen, go out to our website, www.aavradio.org, and go to the Artist Spotlight. You'll find Dustin and James Clark. We'll take you to his website. Also, DustinJamesClark.com. Is that correct, for your tour and be able to buy your music, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, we really appreciate it, and thank you all you're doing for our veterans.